is Jeopardy! Please welcome our contestants. Player 1.
Yeah!
Player 2. Player 3. And now, here is the host of Jeopardy, Alex Trebek.
Thank you, Johnny Gilbert, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Let's take you right now into the Jeopardy round. Clues are worth $200 to $1,000 in these categories. B+. Novel's first lines. An organic category. Yo, Jimmy. Celebs. And Asian history. All right, let's get back into this. Player 1 has control of the board. This Spider-Man and Cider House Rules star is pals with Leonardo DiCaprio. Okay, Player 1. That's right, way to go. Please pick again, Player 1. In 2010, this talk show hostess replaced Paula Abdul as a judge on American Idol. Yes, Player 1? Yes. Player 1, you pick again, please. Despite an interruption from Kanye, she won for Best Female Video at the 2009 MTV Video Music Awards. Player 1? That's it. Player 1, you pick again, please. This star of The Princess Diaries and The Devil Wears Prada has the same name as Shakespeare's wife. Let's hear it, Player 1. You are correct. You again, Player 1. It's the Daily Double. And you have the lead, Player 1. Please select your wager. All right, here's your clue. She must have been in seventh heaven when her autobiography and I Am Me CDs both reached number 1. Even so, you are still in the correct response is Ashley Simpson. We return to you, Player 1. Shoeless. It's Player 1. Yeah! That's correct. We return to you, Player 1. It's 1 over par on a hole of golf. Okay, Player 1. Yep. Player 1, back to you for our next select. It speaks to Moses in Exodus 3. Okay, Player 1. Yeah! Is correct. Please pick again, Player 1. Able to speak both Spanish and English. It's Player 1. You got it. Player 1, back to you for our next selection. This type of drug relaxes the smooth muscles in the airways, causing them to open. Here's what we wanted. A bronchodilator. Player 1, back to you. In the comics, Jimmy Olsen was this hero's cub reporter pal. It's player 1. That is correct. We return to you, player 1. A book by former President Jimmy Carter compared Israel's treatment of Palestinians to this policy of white South Africa. Here's the response we were looking for. Apartheid. Player 1, back to you for our next selection. From 1957 to 1971, Jimmy Hoffa was the president of this labor union. It's player 1. Yeah! Right you are. Player 1, choose again. The Jimmy was a popular SUV from this American automaker. Here's what we wanted. General Motors. Select again. He's Jerry Lee Lewis's famous evangelist cousin. Player 2.
Aww.
Sorry, that's wrong. Anyone else want to hazard a guess on this? Player 1? That's it. Player 1, back to you for our next selection. A dialysis machine is also called an artificial one of these organs. Yes, player 1? Right. Player 1, you pick again, please. Alveoli are tiny sacs clustered like grapes in these organs. Player 1? Yes. You get to pick again, player 1. Though this organ has no known use, it can harm you if it ruptures, creating the risk of peritonitis. Yes, player 1? Yes. Player 1, back to you for our next selection. The hepatic duct carries bile from the liver to this organ for storage. Yes, player 1? That's correct. Select again. The islets of Langerhans aren't a vacation spot, but a group of cells in this organ. We're talking about the pancreas. Please pick again, player 1. In the 1920s, the Kemalists opposed the Sultan in this country and eventually prevailed. It's player 3. That is correct. All right, let's get back into this. Player 3 has control. In December of 1946, he attacked the French at Tonkin, beginning a war that ended 8 years later. Here's what we wanted. Ho Chi Minh. Please pick again, player 3. In 1739, the peacock throne built for Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan was stolen by these people. Here's the response we were looking for. The Persians. Player 3, you pick again, please. In 1782, when Chao Phraya Chakri became King Rama I, he moved his capital across the river to this city. Okay, player 1.
Yeah!
Yep. All right, let's get back into this. Player 1. Here's Kelly with the clue.
These nomadic horsemen, who overran most of Asia in the Middle Ages, lived in portable lattice tents known as yurts.
Player 2.
Oh.
No, that's not right. Any other takers? Let's hear it, player 3.
Yeah!
Right you are. A lot of clues, a lot of categories, player 3. Make us a Orwell. Mr. Jones of the Manor Farm had locked the hen houses for the night. Yes, player 2.
Oh.
Sorry. Anyone else want to hazard a guess on this? It's player 3. You got it. You again, player 3. Fitzgerald. In my younger and more vulnerable years, my father gave me some advice that I've been turning over in my mind. Here's what we were looking for. The Great Gatsby. Player 3, back to you. Tolstoy. Well, Prince, so Genoa and Lucca are now just family estates of the Bonapartes. Here's the response we were looking for. War and Peace. Player 3, you pick again, please. Golding. The boy with fair hair lowered himself down and began to pick his way toward the lagoon. The correct response is Lord of the Flies. Here's the $1,000 clue for you. Charlotte Bronte. There was no possibility of taking a walk that day. Yes, player 2. You are correct. The selection will be yours, player 2, when we return from this break. Categories for the Double Jeopardy round are the essence of things, Broadway debuts, the 1930s, writers at rest, libraries, and flora. Player 2, where do we start? Her headstone at West Cemetery in Amherst says she was born December 10th, 1830, called back May 15th, 1886. It's player 1. Right. Player 1, make a selection, please, as we continue. A covering for the blade of a knife. Yes, player 1? You are correct. You'll be a contender if you know this term for a boxer who jabs with his right. Let's hear it, player 1. That is correct. Player 1, back to you for our next selection. The deliberate destruction of property or equipment by resistance fighters or enemy agents. It's player 3. Good for you. All right, let's get back into this. Player 3 has control old school inhalant to give you a nicotine rush. Yes, player 1? Nope. Sorry. Anyone else? We're talking about snuff. Player 3, choose again. W. H. Auden wrote of this Civil War-torn country, "History to the defeated may say alas, but cannot help nor pardon." Okay, player 2. Yes. A lot of clues, a lot of categories. Player 2. Make us a... His grave is marked Reverend Charles Lutwidge Dodson. Fell asleep January 14th, 1898, aged 65 years. Okay, player 1. That's not it. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? The correct response is Lewis Carroll. We return to you, player 2. This country's national library, the Biblioteca Nacional José Martí, was financed by a tax on sugar. Let's hear it, player 1. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? Let's hear it, player 2. Correct. Please pick again, player 2. The Hector Hodler Library in Rotterdam, which is devoted to this artificial language, has over 15,000 books. Player 3? That's correct. All right, let's get back into this. Player 3 has control. Buried at the Sleepy Hollow Cemetery in Concord, Massachusetts, she died 2 days after her father, Bronson. Here's the correct response. Louisa May Alcott. You again, player 3. Answer. The first of the 2 daily doubles. You're in second right now. So, what's your wager? Here is your daily double clue. This author of Metamorphosis rests at a Jewish cemetery in Prague, beneath a tombstone inscribed in Hebrew. That's it. Player 3, choose again. A little detective work in a Hampshire churchyard, and you'll find the grave of this patriot, physician, and man of letters. Here's the response we were looking for. Arthur Conan Doyle. You get to pick again, player 3. He made his debut as Katharine Hepburn's grandson in A Matter of Gravity, before flying high as Superman. Yes, player 1?
Yeah!
Correct. Where do we begin, player one? From the Urdu for soldier, it was an Indian native who served in the British Army in the 1800s. We're talking about a sepoy. Select again. When his presidential library was dedicated in 1991, 4 former presidents were in attendance. Let's hear it, player two. Yes, good. Back on the plus side. Where do we begin, player two? Answer. The other Daily Double. Player two, you're in last place, so let's see if you can close. Please enter your wager. Answer this. This Shakespeare library, named for this Standard Oil man, is run by Amherst College. Hey, you're right. Player two, choose again. The Radcliffe Camera, Britain's first round library, is the main reading room of this bigger library at Oxford. Here's what we were looking for. The Bodleian Library. You again, player two. In 1995, Jolie Fisher made her Broadway debut as Rizzo in this musical, It's the Word. It's player three. Right you are. Player three, you start us off. In 1999, Susan Lucci took aim at Broadway and made her debut as the title gal in this musical. The correct response is Annie, Get Your Gun. Player three, back to you. He made his debut starring opposite Natasha Richardson in Anna Christie. They were married soon after. Player three? Correct. You again, player three. In 2006, in her first big project since giving birth to twins, she starred on Broadway in 3 Days of Rain. The correct response is Julia Roberts. You get to pick again, player three. In the wild in Mexico, this Christmas plant, Euphorbia pulcherrima, may grow to a height of 15 feet. Okay, player one. No, sorry. Anyone else? Yes, player three? Sorry. That's wrong. Anyone else want to hazard a guess on this? Okay, player two. Okay, let's get back into this. Player two, you make the next selection as the Depression hit Europe. This figure in Belgium went from 5.4% in 1930 to 23.5% in 1932. We're talking about unemployment. Player two, pick again. Melvin Purvis gained fame, more than Hoover liked, as head of the FBI's office in this city. Player two. That's correct. We return to you, player two. In August of 1939, Germany signed a non-aggression pact with this nation. Yes, player 2. Sorry, that's wrong. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? The correct response is the Soviet Union. We return to you, player 2. In 1932, he said Huey Long and Douglas MacArthur were the 2 most dangerous men in the country. Here's what we were looking for. Franklin Delano Roosevelt. You get to pick again, player 2. The ponderosa is one of the most widely distributed American species of this conifer. Let's hear it, player 1. Good for you. Okay, let's get back into this. Player 1. Aethusa sinapium is known as poison or fool's this herb. Don't put it on your potatoes. Yes, player 1. Select again. Here's Jimmy from our Clue Crew with the clue.
The moss seen here, also called vegetable horsehair, is best known by this national name.
Here's the correct response. Spanish moss. And the last clue for $2,000. A variety of this state tree of Mississippi is the cucumber tree, which gets its name from the shape of its fruits. Here's the correct response. The magnolia. All 3 of you will participate in Final Jeopardy right after this. So much depends on how you do in the Final Jeopardy category, which today is show business. Please enter your wager. And now the last clue. The wings on this, created in 1948, represent the muse of art. The atom represents the electron of science. Your response? And that will cost you. What did you say? And this correct response will add how much to your score? Did you come up with the correct response? And that correct response will add... Congratulations, player 1. You're the winner. Thanks for playing, everybody. See you next time.